I'm going to do a presentation that I actually gave Tuesday night to some of our Simply Cyber community members about how to do public speaking, some tips based on the over 400 presentations that I have given in the last 5 years, plus who knows how many prior to that. But my day job at KnowBe4 is all about giving presentations. But it's okay to be nervous when we're having to present. I mean, bottom line, it's okay. You know, there's a reason for that. And mainly because, you know, you're not the only one. There are famous people out there that are very nervous when it comes to giving presentations. You got Adele. You got Barbara Streisand. You got Stephen Fry, the British actor. Even the great Laurence of Olivier had stage fright. So much so that even this young lady had stage fright. This is my youngest daughter, Katie. This is her as her junior in high school. This was like 4 some odd years ago. Her older sister had always been the performer. And Katie has a beautiful singing voice. Both my daughters have a beautiful singing voice. I'm biased, I know, but if I share you there, YouTube, you'll agree with me. But anyway, Katie started out being the napkin in Beauty and the Beast when she was in 8th grade. And in 9th grade, she had another supporting role. In her junior year, she got cast as the lead. Character's name was Alice Murphy in a musical called Bright Star, written by Steve Martin and Edie Brickell. It was on Broadway. She played Alice Murphy and had to belt this like incredible number at the end of the show. And this is the end of the show. This is the closing moments. I took the picture because I was the photographer for the show, so I was able to keep all the pictures. But this is her belting out that last note. And every night we would drive home, and I'd be like, how you feeling? Everything all right? She goes, no, talk to me, Dad. I'm decompressing. And I'm like, okay. But, you know, that's kind of how people deal with it because, you know, of that stage fright. And Jerry Seinfeld always said it best. You know, according to most studies, people's number one fear is public speaking. What's number 2? Death. Death is number 2. So if you're an average person, you got to go to a funeral to give a eulogy. You'd rather be in the coffin than the one having to give the speech? Yeah, okay, all right. So as I mentioned, my name is James McQuiggan at 35,000 feet. I'm a security awareness advocate for KnowBe4. My job is to go around, do thought leadership, give presentations, write blogs, be on podcasts. I'm also a college professor at Full Sail University teaching cyber threat intelligence. So I love to talk cybersecurity. So we're going to talk about confidence in your presentation. We're going to talk about tips to presenting, some PowerPoint tips, and then we'll wrap this all up. Okay, so why are we frightened? Now, this is the perfect room to do this. And why are we frightened when it comes to public speaking? Anybody?
You don't want to screw up.
Well, you don't want to be like Ben. Okay. What'd you say, Laura? Say something embarrassing. Worry what our peers think about us. Okay. Lack of preparation. Well, that's your own fault. Worried about failing. Okay. So, yeah. So, essentially, we're worried about saying something stupid. We might get dry mouth. You know, the audience boos and loses interest. You know, or you might be boring or not presenting a logical argument or getting judgment from your peers. And that's something we're always worried about. So, a lot of this comes down to confidence, which that feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciations of one's abilities or qualities. So one of the things that in the 2000 teens, so 15 years ago, I was a part of, I'll get to that in a sec. So there's 2 types of speakers. Mark Twain, those who get nervous, and liars. Kind of like politicians. But anyway, so we want to go from this, hiding behind, you know, it always cracks me up when people stand behind like a podium. And I know I'm off camera and I'm sorry, but you know, you have people that stand here. These are the nervous people. You want to be able to come out in front and be able to speak confidently with no problem whatsoever. And I know I'm off camera, sorry. So I'm still here. You're still good, all right. So you want to have that confidence, and that takes time. How do you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice, 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 or money, depending on who you are. Take an Uber. But essentially, anything you do that you put 10,000 hours in, you're going to be a master at. You're going to be very confident in that. And that's what we're looking to do. Now, am I expecting you to go out and start giving presentations for 10,000 hours? No. But we're looking at trying to do it enough times so that you build up that confidence. So much so that my first speech that I gave, it goes all the way back to March 8th, 1983. I was 11 years old. I know you guys can do the math. But I did a speech on Galileo. 5 minutes, and I memorized the whole thing from beginning to end. I don't remember it anymore, But it was one of those things that's how I had to get through the speech. I had to memorize it so I wouldn't feel nervous. The next big speech or the next big time I had to be in front of people was when I was working for Dell Tech Support way back in the late 90s. And I had to do train the trainer. I had to train people how to work on the phones, how to, answer the phone, how to deal with tech support, troubleshooting, that kind of stuff. And that was a 4-day training class, 8 hours a day. And they just handed me the manual and said, here you go, James, you can teach everybody. I'm like, okay. So needless to say, extremely nervous, freaking out. But I got through it. Got through it at the end of every day. I had a beer because I needed it. But you get through it eventually. So much so, as I mentioned before, being a part of Toastmasters. I was a part of 2 different clubs, one at Siemens, where I worked, and then another local one that was in Central Florida. Kind of went all the way through it, did a lot of the advanced communicating, advanced leadership ones. That built up the confidence because every week I was speaking, whether I was standing up on my feet for 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, just speaking, just to, on a particular topic, or it was something where I had to run a meeting and an agenda. And Jerry, you're killing my style here, but woo, hey, Clyde Snack Shack. All right, hopefully everybody gets your food coupon. But basically, and you got to be able to, what's that? Cameo by Jerry. That's all good. Now I just ruined my whole flow. I got to start all over again. No, I'm kidding. No. Add 30 minutes. So essentially, from Toastmasters, I learned a lot about, building up confidence in myself, but then a lot of the tips that help us. You want to make sure you're making eye contact, looking at the lens. For me, at home, I do a lot of virtual presentations. I wish I had a picture of it here, but the setup that I have at home, I got a huge monitor, 2 side monitors, a teleprompter right in front of me, which is the best thing ever. And then I got 2 lights above on the sides of the monitor. So that way I can always be looking into my monitor, into the teleprompter, into my camera, and it makes people feel like I'm actually presenting to them, which is kind of cool. You want to try to distract, weird mannerisms. Italians, me, we always like to talk with our hands, and so if you can try to contain those and not have crazy distractions, that goes a long way as well. Be natural, spontaneous. Jerry just walked up and dropped me my food token in front of me. I incorporated it. I didn't try to keep on going. It's like, no, Jerry's sitting here. We can have fun with this. The body mirrors your feelings. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm very energetic with this presentation. I love talking to people, especially when it comes to presenting. But you have that self-confidence when you prepare, when you rehearse it, when you practice it, and everything else. Practice, practice, practice. You can have vocal variety with your pitch, how long you talk. Maybe a pause. Pauses are great. One of my favorite things to do when I'm presenting in conferences and people are checking their email, I'll stop talking. I'll not just abruptly, I'll just wait to a nice fun little point where, so the 3 things you need to be aware of when you're hacking into an organization, and then we're like, what? Yeah, pauses are great to be able to get people's attention back to you. My other fun thing to do is when I talk about what I'm talking about, I'll put on at the top, it says, for the next 382 minutes and 482 slides. That always grabs their attention. They're like, whoa, hey, this was 45 minutes, not 4 hours. So that's always a good thing. Volume, projecting to the back of the room always helps. Voice and image, and of course, practice, practice, practice. You can do visual aids. PowerPoint's our friend, and we're going to talk about PowerPoint tips. If you're going to have props are great. Just have them visible just so that people can get an idea of what you're showing. Make sure it's justified based on your content. Don't hold up your phone, and you're talking about, I don't know, PowerPoint. But make sure it's justified. Colorful, simple slides, and that goes in with your PowerPoints as well. So talking about PowerPoints, here's 10 tips, and I'm just going to put them up there. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds just to read them. Because I don't always use PowerPoint, but when I do, I'm interesting. Yes, this is one of the slides you want to take a picture of. This is one of my few slides where I have a lot more tips and bullets on there than I should. One of the great things to do is have a dark background and then have light text. That goes a long way. Makes it easier on their eyes, especially if people are looking at a lot of text. One of the best things to do is don't sit there and read your slides. Number 1, contrast light on dark. Number 2, don't read the slides. Number 3, no. The slides are there for you, and they're there for your audience. The slides are there so you know what to say next. The slides are there for your audience so they know what you're talking about, or they might have an idea. In this particular case, it's so you guys can take a screenshot going, ooh, top 10 tips I can do for PowerPoint. Make your text large. Don't make it an eye chart. Don't make it anything smaller than 20, in my opinion, is too small. Font size 20. Choose easy to read colors. So in this case, I've got white on green. Using yellow on like blue and just weird funky colors, no. Bullet point, try to do bullet points. Don't write sentences. I know that sounds kind of weird because it goes against a lot of what we do, but using a bullet point is to guide you on what you want to tell, what story or what segment you're telling. Now I like this one. Keep the flying to Superman. It always cracks me up when I see presentations and people got animations flying in and dissolves and zebra transitions and all kinds blinds. Yeah, a simple fade works. So leave the flying to Superman. In other words, tone down the animations, depending on what you're talking about. There are times I like to use fun animations like the flying in when I'm talking about different points. I've got different images coming in, but keep it simple as well. Avoid the eye charts. Keep it 7 bullet points. I know I got 10, but I'm making a point on this one. Maybe not display the text all at once, because one of the biggest things is if you've got a slide with a whole bunch of bullet points on it, what are people going to do? They're going to read that. They're not going to hear what I'm saying. I'm battling with my own slides. So bring them in one at a time, talk about it, and then move on. Use your visuals to represent data, so charts, graphs, images. And then this is a fun one. And it's tricky to do it, and I don't have my presenter view on here. When you have PowerPoint with presenter view, it shows you what's your next slide, which is great because now you can look at what your next slide is and start talking about that as you click into it, rather than, oh, hang on, let me see, what's the next slide? Oh, right, my next slide is building, 10 tips for building confidence for speaking. Notes on there, yeah. Like I said, I don't have presenter view on here right now. I wasn't prepared to speak. I'm just up here talking.
Just rolling with you.
You're just rolling with me. So your confidence, how do you build up that confidence? Well, practice, practice, practice. Of course. Know your material. Know your material in the sense of you don't have to have a doctorate in it, but know what you're putting on paper, what stories you want to tell, and being able to back it up. That's knowing your material. Know your audience. Know who you're talking to. Are they college kids? Are they high school kids? Are they seniors? Are they adults? Are they executives? Are they practitioners? Are they the mailroom? Figure out who it is. Now here, this is a room full of Simply Cyber community members that work in IT, cybersecurity, or GRC. So I know I can get technical and talk about a variety of different things if I need to. Visualize yourself giving a speech. When you're practicing it, one of the more powerful things you can do is visualize yourself standing in front of the room, looking at all the people as they've got all the eyes looking at you, and you're going, oh my God, everybody's looking at me. No. Just have that visualization, knowing that you've got that confidence, staying in one spot if you can. When it comes to your message, that's what you want to push. Don't worry about the slides. Now, unfortunately, Christopher's not in here because I'd bust his chops. His slides crapped out on him earlier. Yeah, I know it was my computer. But the slides crapped out on him earlier. Could he carry on with the presentation? That's kind of the mindset that you want to have if your slides do crap out. Know the room. Again, know the room not only in the sense of how it's set up, where your audience is, but, the exits maybe. But essentially knowing the room and where you can walk. Here, in this case, we've got the camera, so I can't take walks all the way over here as if I'm working on the next bit. No, you gotta stay knowing where the room is and everything else. This is a fun one. We will have a tendency as humans, when we make a mistake or goof up on something, we go, oh, sorry about that. Here, let me fix this. Working for a number of years in theater, the first rule that I learned was the audience doesn't know the show. Well, they'll know the musical, they'll know the music, but they don't know how we staged it. So if somebody forgets to bring on a prop or forgets, a line or something like that, don't go, oh, seize up, freak out or anything. The audience doesn't know. So in this case, don't apologize if you screw up one of your lines. If you misread something, well, possibly. But it's difficult because we have that tendency as humans to go, oh, sorry. You could trip on something. Oh, sorry. But try to, realize the fact that you know your show. Gaining experience, the more you present something, the more you're in an environment where you are presenting, you gain that confidence. And this goes back to the beginning where I asked about, are we nervous? People want you to succeed. When they're sitting here, they're interested to listen to what you have to say. They are interested in knowing that you're going to succeed and do well with your presentation. They know that the information that you're sharing is important because they're there and they want to hear from you. Relax and breathe. Usually, when I do a presentation, except this one, usually I'll take a couple minutes beforehand. I'll go find a quiet spot and just kind of meditate, have a sense of mindfulness. Breathe, relax. Again, it is nervous being up in front of everybody and everybody looking at you, but just relax. Know that everybody is there to want you to be successful as well. Have a positive state of mind. Know your material. One of my favorite things to do when I'm preparing to give, especially like a big presentation, is I will stand somewhere and I'll do the Superman pose. I got this. This is my presentation. I know what I'm talking about. I got this. I'm the smartest person in the room when it comes to this topic. I'm Superman. Okay, if you're a woman, fine. Wonder Woman. The Diana Carter or Linda Carter Wonder Woman pose. Yeah. Have that strong body language. You know, be confident. If you're going to move because you're changing a topic, then move with confidence. One of my early problems when I was first presenting many years ago, I would just be pacing the stage back and forth, left and right all the time. It was like tennis, a tennis presentation going back and forth. Sometimes it's good to break the ice. I opened up with a question. Some people like to open up with a joke. But channel that nervous energy. You're going to have butterflies in your stomach. Make them fly in formation. That's what we're looking to do. Have that opening pause. I always like to come out on stage and look around. Look at everybody, and then start. Have that opening statement. Maybe determine, are you going to do questions at the beginning or are you going to do them at the end? Try to summarize as you go if you can, especially if you've got a long presentation. And then tell them 3 things. Tell them what you're going to talk about it, tell them what you told them. So, you're the expert on the presentation that you're giving. Be confident in that and practice. Practice it until you feel that you have that confidence that you can do it. Even if you get up and you bomb, you're still having that experience of giving that presentation. And again, everyone will be there to help you succeed. So, thank you. That's 20 minutes for me, so I know we've got 5 minutes for the next presentation. But you can find me at jamesmcquiggan.com. I do have a YouTube channel where I have dad jokes and other presentations that I give if you want. Because that's the other thing. If you want to watch other people be successful at presentations, watch them do them. TED Talks are awesome to watch. The way they do those is phenomenal. That's on my bucket list one day to go do a TED Talk. So, alrighty. I want to thank you all for your time and your interest.